Good morning, everybody. This is Sarah, and welcome to my live video chat. Now, just in case you don't know and you've never tuned in before, every Tuesday, to the best of my ability, I like to have a live video chat. My camera got bumped by my special guest. Anyway, I like to have a live video chat every Tuesday, 9:30 a.m. and that is Mountain Time. So you'll have to check where you're located and how that corresponds to your time. Now I do have a very special guest, and she's going to pop up in just a second. And but before we do that, I wanted to tell you I'm back from my vacation. We had a wonderful time. We went to Oklahoma to visit my daughter and her husband and their children, my grandchildren. And then my son went also with his wife and daughter. And good morning, Carol. And anyway, he had a race. He races Jeeps. And so we had a wonderful, fun, but short vacation. But I decided that I didn't want to miss my granddaughter, so I brought her back with me. Hi. Hey, everyone. This is Callie. She is my daughter's daughter. And if you know my daughter, that's Elizabeth Spivey of Callie's Clips and Crochet Creations. And when Callie was in her mama's tummy, my daughter knew she was having a little girl, and so she named her business after Callie. And so she's coming to spend a couple weeks with me. Then we're going to pop her on a plane and she's going to fly home. So anyway, she's here. We're going to have a lot of fun. We got lots of fun stuff planned. Now, one thing that you all know, I was born in Iowa, but I grew up and spent most of my life in Oklahoma. And so I really claim Oklahoma as my home. Well, I discovered I didn't have a coffee cup with Oklahoma on it. So it's time to clink in, and I found a beautiful coffee cup. Isn't this lovely? It's got the Indian on the horse, and you turn it around, there's the buffalo, and then we got our cowboy. Isn't that neat? And it's the Sooner State. So I claim Oklahoma as my home. So did everybody clink in? Hello, Michelle and Carol and Vivian. Good morning. Is it Janita? Jacinta? Wow, that's a pretty name. Jennifer, Carol, Kimberly. So glad you all are here today. Callie, is there anything you'd like to say? You want to say hello? She's kind of shy. Her mama was just like that when she was little. So those of you who are just tuning in, this is my precious granddaughter, Callie. She's 9 years old, and she's visiting with me for a couple of weeks. I may have to make her learn how to crochet, though, while she's here. Did you want to sit down and play with your iPad now? No. No? Okay. She's going to hang out with us. So did everybody clink in? Hi, Tina. Clink in. I just love this mug. It's big and thick. And I have to tell you what happened. We drove down there, and then we were driving back, and I told my husband, I said, I haven't found a Oklahoma mug that I like. And the very last gas station that we were getting gas at and picking up a few snacks and taking the dogs for a walk, I walked in, and they had a huge display of Oklahoma coffee mugs. And of course, I picked this one out because it's just lovely. I just love it. All right, so the questions that I had come in, I wanted to show you something. Before last week when I did the live video, I didn't put it on YouTube because it was just a fun little live video that we did. And we stopped at that really cool volcano and did the beginning live video. But the actual live video I wanted to do at the volcano, but when we got up there, there just wasn't any service. Internet service, and I was so disappointed. So we just drove around till we found a nice flat surface around the area to stop and do the live video. Well, we set it up on the hood of my car, and we got it all set up and ready to go. And then the dog started barking at this Labrador Retriever. It was a beautiful black lab. And it was so funny, and I had the giggles, and I had such a hard time even doing that video because I was laughing so hard. And it was so much fun. But I showed you those earrings that I had with me. And I'm going to show them to you again. That I found at Walmart. $4, and they look like yarn balls, right? Let me hold them up real close. Well, I found the red, white, and blue ones. I couldn't find them in my bag that day. There we go, Callie. Turn them just a little. There you go. Aren't those cool? And what it is they're like balls that are wound with yarn. and real skinny, like almost thread. And they're just gorgeous, and I love both of them, and I can't wait to wear them. I was going to wear them today, but they didn't match my clothes. So anyway, hello, Aurora. You popped in. All right. Now, one of the questions that I've gotten lately is when I'm doing a beginning chain, what do I do if I have too many chains left over, but I know I counted right? Or maybe I don't have enough chains and I know I counted right. So I'm going to show you a little demonstration. I'm going to click over to the other cam. All right, Kelly, let me scoot over, sweetie pie. There we go. Now I've got a chain already chained with some fat yarn. I'm going to pop on my glasses. And I'm just going to give you a couple of hints of what you can do. And this is what one of my things, remember I told you I was going to start doing some cheater classes. Hi, Virginia and Jeannie, y'all both popped in. Glad to see you here. So this is something that I do when I know that I have chained the right amount of chains. The pattern says chain so many chains, and I did that. And then I go to do my stitches, and I'm just going to do some quick single crochets across here. And I know that I've done the right amount of stitches. And then when I get to the end, I don't have enough chains, or I have too many chains left over. All right, so I'm just single crocheting across. Let me put my ball up here in my can, so it rolled out anyway, didn't it? Now this is just some blanket yarn that I had left over from when I made the fish pillow, and I like to use a big chunky yarn when I'm doing a demonstration. I think it just makes it easier. All right, so I did exactly what the pattern said, and I single crocheted the right amount of single crochets or double crochets or whatever amount of stitches the pattern tells me to. And I get to the end, and I'm like, oh no, I don't have enough stitches. What do I do? Well, what you need to do to keep from having to take all of this out is go back, recount your stitches, make sure you've got the right amount that the pattern says. Then you can do what's called a foundation, single, double, half, whichever stitch that you're doing, so that you don't have to take it all out. And what you do, here is a single crochet row. Now, you're going to have to stitch in this last chain. We're doing a single crochet row, so we're just going to go right in that last chain. We're going to pull up a loop. And rather than just making a single crochet and pulling that through, what we're going to do is we're going to make a loop over our hook and just go through that first loop. That made another chain. And then we can finish making our single crochet. And now you've added and made sure that you've got enough. Even if you're short 1 or 2 or 3, you can continue to do that until you have the right amount of stitches. And this will work for no matter what stitch that you're doing. All you would do, for instance, let's pretend I did a row of double crochets. So I'd go in that last chain that I just made. The difference with the double crochets, you do need to have the loop on. I want to make sure I tell you that. Then you go right in that stitch, pull up the loop, yarn over, and only go through that first loop because that's going to give you your chain. And then you would just finish your double crochet, or even if you were doing a half double crochet and pulling it through all 3 loops, you can still do that. And that's a way to keep from having to undo everything that you've done and start over. Okay, so now let's talk about, I'm pulling this out for a reason. Okay, so now let's talk about, I've done everything it said. I did the right amount of chains and the right amount of stitches. But I have these extra chains. What do I do? Well, that's really simple. Go ahead and make your chain 1 if you're certain you've got the right number of chains, and just take them out. Which is a little more difficult with this fuzzy yarn, but you can just go in and just pull those chains out. And depending on what it is, you may not even have to pull them out. If it's something that it's not really going to matter, you're going to put a trim on, you can pull it out later and add your trim. But you see, I'm just pulling it out from the back side. There we go. And now I have no extra chains, and the right number of stitches. All right, one more thing that I got a question about this week, and I know I've talked about this before, is let's say my pattern tells me to chain 200 chains. That's a crazy amount of chains, but you need that many. So what you do is you use your stitch markers. And what I do is if I know I'm going to have to do like 200 chains, I might chain the 25, then I can use my stitch marker and mark it. Okay, and then I'll do 25 more, and then I'll mark that also. That way, if I lose count, I don't have to go all the way back. I just know that between that stitch marker and this stitch marker, I have 25 stitches. So that's a couple of things that can help you out. Let me click back over to the front cam. There we go. I hope that helped you out. Callie's messing around back there. I hope that messed you out. I hope that fixed and helped you out understanding about chains. Chains are one of the easiest stitches you'll ever do, but they can also cause complications if they're not right. And one thing to remember, when you're working in that beginning chain, a lot of times it's easy to accidentally skip a chain or put 2 stitches in a chain, or just not put it in the right spot. Because even though it's a super easy thing to do, it can also be complicated. And so those are a couple of cheater hints that I do. As long as I know that my stitch number is correct, I'm not going to worry that I have too many or too less. I'm just going to fix it. All right. I think next week we're going to talk about how to keep your edges straight and not to add more stitches, and if you accidentally lose a stitch or two, and like that next week, because I've been getting a lot of questions about these things, and I really like talking about them and getting it out there, because you know me. I want everyone to love crochet. I don't want you to be frustrated with crochet. I want you to understand it, because the more you practice, the more confident you'll become. And that's one of the things I say all the time. And speaking of what I say all the time, yesterday we did our Back to Crochet Basics lesson 12. And we talked about the triple crochet stitch. And the same thing applies with these chains. If you're doing rows of if you're doing rows of triple crochet stitches, you can do the same thing and accidentally get off a stitch, and you can do a foundation triple crochet the same way. And I'm also, that reminds me, I am going to be doing a video that I'm going to deal with all 4 of we're going to do the foundation single crochet, half double crochet, and triple. And I don't know if I'm going to do them individually or together. I haven't decided yet. But I like foundation double crochet is a neat technique. And they're great for starting because you get a nice stretchy edge on something like a cowl or a hat or something like that. But a lot of times you may not want to use that technique, but it is a great technique to learn. And once you learn it, you're like, why did no one ever teach me this? It's wonderful. Hello, Grace. Let's see if I missed anybody else. Okay, Caroline, I didn't see you pop in. Let's go ahead and clink in. Clinkety clink. All right, now, yesterday we did our Back to Crochet Basics, like I said, and we learned the triple crochet stitch. And what we made as remember we do at the beginning of the video, I do a lesson. And then the next part of the video, we do a practice project. And what we did are these super easy plastic bag keepers. And I made 2 sizes, and I like 2 sizes because I like to put the big one in my laundry room, of course, where we have a lot of bags. And you can stuff a bunch of bags right down in there. But these short ones are great for like the RV, your truck, your car, your van. Maybe you are a truck driver and you're always eating on the run. These are great to have in there. You can put your extra bags in here that you need. And then when you need one for trash, you just pull it out. So those are great to make, super easy. And they're done with triple crochet stitches and chains. And of course, other things that we've learned along the way. Now, lesson 12 of our Back to Crochet Basics is the end of those particular lessons. But I've had so many questions about other things that I'm going to continue on with some of that, excuse me, occasionally. I have to tell you, when Kelly and I were talking and getting ready to get the video started and get set up, I got the hiccups. It was so funny. And I looked at Kelly, I said, oh no, I have the hiccups and we're getting ready to start. And so I had to gulp up a bunch of coffee. It was really funny. Grace, you came in late. This is Callie, my granddaughter. We went down, like I said, we went down to Oklahoma and I brought her back with me. Well, actually, she came back with my son and his wife and their daughter, Zoe. So they played for a couple of days in the RV on the way back. And now she's going to stay with me for a couple of weeks and then we're going to fly her home. And it'll be her first time to fly. All right, Kelly, show them what you got in your hand there. Go towards the camera there. There we go. She is so pretty. She looks just like her mama. Her mama is Elizabeth Spivey of Callie's Clips and Crochet Creations. And if you need any baby props or crochet patterns, you can find her on Etsy and Facebook. And she's been doing this almost as long as I have. All right, so what she's holding are, let me just grab this one. You can hang on to those two. There we go. Now, this is a video I did last Friday just for fun. I did these, these are dog collars and bracelets. And I did these about 6 years ago because I wanted to crochet with jute. And let me show you what jute is, just in case. You can call it hemp or jute. And it comes in lots of different gauges. Here's one that I used. This one is one that's a little bit thicker. And the bigger one right here, this one is done. So now I'm trying to show them to you. This one is done with a thicker. Now, you can go to your local Hobby Lobby, Joann's, or you can even go to your hardware store and go over by the gardening supplies. Because these are what I use also to hold up my tomato plants inside my, I have the tomato cages, and then I wrap this also around to keep the plants upright. But anyway, it's a lot of fun to make these bracelets. You can also make chokers or bracelets, you know, other things made with this same technique. And I did a video on Friday and it was a lot of fun. But if you don't have jute or you don't like it, or maybe you're allergic to it, you can use worsted weight number 4 yarn, and you can also use a cotton yarn, and you just grab you some wooden beads or some beads around. Like this one here that I made, that's the thicker one, those are polymer clay beads that I made just by balling them up, sticking them on a skewer type thing, and sticking them in the oven for the time that the package said. Super easy to make. This one's got wooden beads at squares. This one's got wooden that are all different colors. And you can also use those pony beads. They work too. Hi, Leslie. Just saw you popping in. So anyway, that's a lot of fun, and I really enjoy making these. And you can make them longer and make a choker for yourself. So it's really neat. And working with jute is really different. It's it doesn't have any stretch, and it's just really different. I can't explain it. You know, cotton doesn't have any stretch, but it's a little bit different than working with cotton. But it is a lot of fun. And I have an idea because I bought this whole roll and look how much I got left. And so I have this idea that I want to make some sort of a wall hanging where I you know, hook it on some sort of a stick. And you know how they do this, the stick? Yes, I have marker on my hand. Did someone just mention that? We did some marker projects last night. And I didn't get it off. But anyway, I have this idea to kind of do some crochet, kind of mix it with maybe some macrame and add some fun beads and see what we can come up with. So, so I'm glad I got a bunch of that left. So you can also, another thing is, yeah, that's what we were working on last night. There's her puppy she made last night. Isn't he cute? The other thing you can do with jute, if you like to do what's called yarn bombing, jute is really good for that because it holds up in the weather. Because that's why we put it on, you know, tomato cages and pepper cages and stuff like that to get things to grow. Hi, Brandy. Caught you live. Yay! So, yeah, I don't know if you all are into yarn bombing. I do have a video planned probably the 2nd or 3rd week of July. I haven't quite got all that. Yes, I will put Grace asked for my daughter's information for her crochet stuff. I absolutely will put it there. Thank you for mentioning that. But anyway, jute works really good for yarn bombing. And of course, I haven't seen it in any colors but the beige, but I know that it can be dyed because it is a natural fiber. And so I see how my brain goes. I'm thinking, okay, maybe I need to dye some jute back to the tie-dye, because you know my brain goes in all different directions. My creativity, I don't know. I see something and I go, oh, okay, I like this. Oh, I could do this with this and this with this and this with this and you know, and then all of a sudden my creativity has gone crazy. So anyway, if you look behind me, there's my tie-dye shirt that I made. And at the bottom, I'm going to move my chair a little. I decided to chop up the bottom of it and the sleeves, and then I cut the front also. And I did that because I'm going to use it for a bathing. Okay, I'm going to use it for a bathing suit cover up. And then the headband that she's holding, you can bring that over here, sweetie. That's one I did with some of the tie-dye. Bring it over this way towards Oma. That's a headband. It's just double crochet that I did with some of the leftover tie-dye yarn. And then I made this little flower bracelet because I thought it looked hippie-ish. And this is also a video. Both of these are videos that from patterns that I've done in the past. You can put those back over there if you like. Thanks, sweetie pie. That I have online. The flowers is just a lazy daisy chain, and the headband's just the basic headband. So you know, my creativity, the way that I see things, isn't what everybody else sees, and so I come up with all these ideas in my head. And so that's why I said, you know, the jute, wonder if I could dye that. Yes, I can. Alrighty, you know. Now I need to go get more tie-dye stuff. And I have to tell you, the kit that I bought, I think I got it at Walmart. It had like 12 different colors, and they were huge bottles. And it came with plastic gloves. It came with a whole bunch of bands and instructions, and all you have to do is put water in the little, because it comes with the tubes, the bottles. You put water in it, cover the top, shake it really, really hard, and then you can tie-dye anything. Now, I did look it up online, and it said, you know, to soak whatever you're going to dye in baking soda, bicarbonate. I can't remember the official term, but make sure you get pure baking soda, and you soak it in warm water ahead of time and then rinse it. And for some reason that helps whatever you're making absorb the dye better. And remember, it doesn't work on polyester or worsted weight yarn, like Red Heart. You need to make sure you're using 100% cotton yarn or natural fibers like hemp or jute. Jute's another word for hemp. Because it'll go on, but it won't stay. And then after you're done, because it gives you complete directions in these kits, and then after you're doing that, I also soaked it in a vinegar bath, 100% white distilled vinegar. And that vinegar bath helps it stay. It's like sets the color. And then you rinse it really, really good, hang it up to dry. And the shirt behind me has been through the laundry several times. And so it's so much fun. Hi, Lynn. That's my sister-in-law. She's just popping in. Callie, say hi to your Aunt Lynn. So anyway, Leslie said she's inspired to do some dye-like crazy. It is so much fun, and it is so easy. The key to keeping without making a mess that I learned is to lay out paper. You're going to put your plastic tablecloth down and then lay out paper towels when you're doing the dyeing, because the paper towels will absorb anything that comes out that doesn't go in whatever you're tie-dyeing. Whether you're doing yarn or hemp, jute, you know, shirts, I was going to say towels. You can even do your towels. I mean, you can do anything that is 100% cotton or all natural fibers. It is just so much fun. And the bag I did is up there on that side. That's the bag. And I did a blog on that, and I made the bag out of 100% cotton yarn first. Because before, when I did the yarn dyeing, I rolled all the yarn out and I banded it, and which is, oh, she already put it back. That other one that I did, remember the hot pad? This is the yarn that I tie-dyed, but I did it by banding it first, and it was, you know, white cotton yarn. And then someone said, well, can I make it first and then tie-dye it? And I thought, I've got to try that. And so I did, and that's the bag, and it's striped sideways like this. It turned out super cute, and it's one of my new project bags, and I took it with me when we went on our trip, and it was so much fun. She's wanting to show you some stuff that's over there, but it's okay. So anyway, I really encourage you, if you have a little bit of time, just try it. They have kits that run from like $4.99 all the way up to $25.99, depending on how many bottles you want, how many colors you want. I mean, it's a lot of fun. And if you're worried about doing it with your kids, like I said, it comes with the plastic gloves. And if you run out of plastic gloves, I put baggies on my hands towards the end, because every time you do it, you take the gloves off and you don't want to put your hands back in, because then you get dye on your hands. And a couple of my fingers still have a little bit of dye in the crevices because it's really hard to get out. So anyway, I just really encourage you to do it. It was just so much fun. And I've got so many more ideas that I want to try with it. So anyway. Oh, you want to see Maximo? Okay. There he is. He's sleeping on the pillows like a little prince. Isn't he a little prince?
Rosie's right over here.
Oh, Rosie found her another snuggle spot. All right, there's Maximo. All right, now I'm going to let you go in just a few minutes. I just want to remind you, if you have any questions about crochet, something that you want to know, I will do the very best I can to answer your question. And so you can post it here on our live video chat here on Facebook, or you can post it when I move it over to YouTube. You can post it under the comments on YouTube. Oh, she wants me to show you Rosie. Okay. Get your rear out of the way. All right, there's Max and Rosie and Callie playing around. All righty. You're a little goober. So anyway, and don't forget, if you have something more important, maybe it's a longer question, you can always go to my website at www.poshpoochdesigns.com. And you can click on that, and up in the corner on the website, it says contact. And you just click that little contact tab, and it'll go right to my email, and you can write it all out there. If it's a long question, or maybe personal, or just something you don't want somebody else to see, I don't have any problem with that. And like I always say, if I don't know the answer, I'll do the very best I can to find it for you. All right, so I want everyone to have a wonderful, wonderful week. We got a bunch of fun stuff planned today. And maybe next week I'll show you all the crafts that we're going to do, or that we have done this week. All right, Callie, can you tell everyone goodbye?
Goodbye.
Thanks for visiting with us today. And remember, you all make what I do fun and possible. Have a great week.